Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's good to be here with you again. I want to say thank you to everyone who has been joining us since we started. And for those who are just starting, thank you also for joining us. I'm grateful. So I'm waiting for Mr. to join this. Thank you, Olubadan. See you. Yes, and please, if you have your questions, I would advise that we start dropping in our questions now before Mr. Ibe comes on. So, Ademola, hello. Austin Uzo, thank you for joining us. So I'm waiting for Mr. Ibe to join us, and I can tell you that he's super ready. He's excited to be here with us, and he's going to be here soon. I told him I'm going live now, so I'm waiting for him. So I said before that for those who have questions to ask him, please just drop your questions, and in the course of the discussion, I can ask him those questions, and you can be sure he's ready to answer us. So I'm waiting for him to join the conversation. So today we want Mr. Ibe is here. So I'm going to be talking about we are going to be discussing the creative process, the thought process of an artist. Send request. So I'm so excited actually, because these masters have a wealth of knowledge they need to share with us as younger creatives. So, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Tolu. How now?
Yay, I'm
How
fine.
are you?
I feel like screaming actually. I'm fine. It's good to have you here.
Huh?
I said it's good to have you here. It's good to have you here.
Oh, good to see you.
Yes.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, so I said it earlier that for those who have questions, they can start sending in their questions to me, so that I can ask, because I have a lot of questions. But I also know that Mr. Ibe has a lot of things he wants to educate us on. So, and I'm hoping that the questions are going to drive the conversation towards everything you want to tell us about, everything you want to educate us on. So, we would like to know what your journey, what's the transition, your journey from being a young unknown artist to the brand you are today. We would like to know that first, because for every master there's a history. So we would like to know that history. Yes, no matter how short you want to make it, we still want to know.
Okay, I'll say my journey started from childhood. I grew up having an elder brother who is also an artist. The first artist I met, grew up recreating comic characters, and I would follow suit. So along the line, the frustration of not achieving the kind of stunts he used to pull, led me to search my own, to search for my own direction. And I would say, luckily, I sort of found my voice at a tender age,
Okay, sir.
So basically, a young, hungry to create lad, So that hunger to create has been what has been pushing me. I would say, luckily, it helped me. The hunger helped me to narrow down my direction to become an artist at an earlier age. When we were small, they used to say, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? Some people will say doctor, lawyer, this and that. From me, at a very tender age, I've known that I've made up my mind that, look, to be an artist is what it's going to be. So with that, I started engaging myself, having some great adventure, within the artistic space. Again, I grew up in Aba. Aba is an industrial city,
Yes, true.
Highly industrious. At some point in my life, I understudied the shoemakers in area market, just to, just me being keen on learning how does this thing work. I had some neighbors, that used to manufacture shoes, as in manually.
Wow.
I would watch them, see the process. I remember cutting I don't know if you know those old school notes exercise book with very thick hardcovers.
Yes,
so
sir.
I remember cutting the shape of that cover, to be the sole of the shoe.
Wow.
And coupling some other things just to see, just to learn the process. Again, I used to have friends whose family business was their parents used to deal on fabrics. You understand? So,
yes, sir.
And again, Abba had the best till date, the best tailors I have ever known. They are all in Abba. So, within the circle of my friends, I would be the designer. We had the guys that would supply the material, the fabric material, me, the designer, there's or that would execute the sketch I make. Or rather, the sketch I made then. So, yeah. From there to secondary school, in school, primary, secondary, I will always be that guy that would be called on to draw the diagrams on the board. I was the guy that made Christmas or party handmade cards. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, sure. Oh yeah, so I was the guy that made your
cards,
birthday, Valentine cards. What else? Yeah. Then at that tender age, I also developed love for graphics, calligraphy. My love for calligraphy started way back. So I would understudy fonts. I would flip through magazines, appreciating different fonts, appreciating illustrations. That was how my love for fashion illustration started, So I would do all of that. I remember a couple of times I would leave the house just to take a long stroll, the long stroll from the streets, appreciating signs, like company signboards, things like office letterheads and all that. I played a lot. I was the kid that grew up writing your typical school exercise book, writing from the front, drawing from the back. Getting into trouble several times in the class, or doing that. And and so that was basically the foundation. Then it was a springboard that took me to study fine and applied arts in IMT, Institute of Management and Technology, Enugu. Majored in painting, and lucky enough, I came out with distinction. The only student that came out with distinction myself, and that was it.
Wow, great. That's a lot of creative background. Can you hear me, sir?
Thank you.
Yes, that's a lot of creative background that most of us are not privileged.
Big shout out to Yane Gabon from Los Angeles. I see you.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, I know that in our discussion, I know that you served for 15 years in the advertising industry. So I want to know, what was the experience like having to be in the advertising industry? That's you being in two industries at the same time, being in the advertising industry and being in the art industry. what was the relationship like? How were you able to manage the two, going to work and still practicing as an artist? Because I think I've known your work since my university days, and I've known your work since 2009. So, and you were in the advertising industry. So how were you able to function in both worlds and succeed in both worlds?
Okay, so one major thing ties both together. They are within the creative space. So in advertising, I was in the concept unit of the creative department.
Okay.
You know, as an art director. Like I said, both fields. One major thread, one connecting thread is creativity. My art practice informs what I was doing in advertising.
Okay.
So like I told you, so like growing up and indulging myself in those artistic activities.
Yes.
Yeah, was actually what helped prepare me, you understand, so to speak. So it was easy for me to fit in there based on where I was looking at, based on my interest in expressing myself, you know. So advertising, basically, for me, the way I saw it, it was like it was a mixture, it was a fusion of psychology and the arts. What is it exactly? What is it actually?
Sir.
You get to know, of course, you are speaking to an audience.
Okay.
You get to know their psychography, their demography, and all that, how they think, what appeals to them, getting to know them. By the time you know all that, you'll be able to come up with an idea and fuse in things, elements that will catch their fancy or attention. Then in that whole thing, you know, you now subliminally put in the message in a way that it will be best, they will best receive it.
Sorry.
So, yeah, like I said, my art was feeding the advertising, and it was like a cycle. The advertising, because again, my art wasn't, it wasn't bringing money for, you know, on a steady basis. So advertising was that career that would provide the monthly pay for the bills and all that, for upkeep and all that. So this will fuel this would also fuel the other, you know, finance the other.
Okay, all right, sir. So this brings me to, I'm
it was yeah, you know, it will sound funny, you know, somehow it sounds funny when I didn't set out to spend 15 years in advertising.
Wow.
You know, I didn't set out to spend that 15 years. It was an adventure I'm so proud of till date, regardless of the fact that I had to leave advertising at some point. Like till date, I still the advertiser somehow is still in me. One way or the other, it still comes out through what I create or how I think or how I communicate.
Okay. Wow. That's interesting. We are still going to, you mentioned something. When you were doing art, it wasn't like you weren't making money. So you were using your stint in advertising to finance the art.
I didn't say I wasn't making money. It wasn't like a steady, you know, like you have a paid job, the way there's guarantee at the month end that you know this.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so it's going to make me ask a question as we progress. I'm going to ask the question later, but right now I want to ask, why does art matter? I think we need you to answer that question. Why does art matter?
Why does art matter?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay, for me, I speak for self.
Okay.
For me, art matters. For me, is in search of fulfillment of purpose. fulfillment of purpose, as in to summarize the response. Art matters because for me, art is art is the voice I have. Art is, I'll say, by art I mean creativity is my asset, is my weapon with which I fight. Is to me is empowerment. It's also is therapy for me, you know. Is that, I mean, like the times we are in now, I mean, art has been a great relief. Indulging myself in, if you look at my timelines on the Instagram and other social media, you know, things I put out there, it's a way for me to communicate and, you know, just dropping a little hope out there that, look, we might be in challenging times, but then it is not all over. You know, so why does art matter? Yeah, purpose. So again, purpose. I mean, for me, I'm here to contribute to constantly add spice to life. Basically, it's purpose, which poses the big question: why are we here? Like, it's like, why are we here, right? Why are we? Okay. For me, it's like, why am I here? Art is that, you know, that tool.
Yes, sir.
That helps me to add spice to humanity, so to speak. You know? So it's like I've said, I mentioned, is my, you know, what it means to me. Voice is my assets, is my weapon, you know, is empowerment to me.
Great. Okay. Okay. So another question I would like to ask before I go to a major question is, what value did your time in advertising add to your brand? The value your time in advertising added to your brand as an artist.
I think it's in many ways, you know, in creative process, one, in ability to understand, feel the pulse of the audience, my immediate environment, and how to better communicate. You know, and a whole lot, perhaps while talking, you know, they will come up. Yeah.
Okay. All right, sir. Okay. I said I was going to ask a question based on something you said earlier. You said that advertising was helping in financing the art also when you were doing the art with advertising. Okay, so what would you say to young artists? Because what are you going to tell a young artist who can finance the production of his art, the creation, who can buy art materials, so he leaves art and goes to maybe teach or look for a job somewhere else? So how does this young artist go on? What's the motivation? What's the motivation? Because I know a lot of young artists who have left art because of it. To do art is expensive.
I will use myself. I will use myself as an example. Number one, you have to define who you are and what you want. And in doing that, you must be humble. You must be sincere. Yeah. The moment you lie to yourself, you have lied to humanity and you've taken a wrong path. So again, creativity doesn't respect the fact that you don't have money. God has already made you an artist and is the giver of ideas. So far you have ideas, you have the creative license to look out for ways to bet out those ideas, regardless of whether there's money or there's no money. Again, yeah. First of all, no man is an island. You have, look within your immediate circle. Do you understand? Look within your immediate circle. See how you can raise, no matter how little, to buy whatever thing you can lay your hands on and start there. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Okay, you can. Okay. So, like I was saying,
I think that.
yeah. So, like I was saying, look, start from within your immediate space. For me, when I relocated to Lagos, I had all sorts of, problem. Again, the usual accommodation problem that you have. This was me, a hungry guy that wants to, just fly over the moon with creativity. But then I didn't have the space. I didn't have the money to buy the materials I needed to and all that. So I made do with what I could lay my hands on, which was just your ballpoint pen. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you.
So I laid my hands on ballpoint pen and started, started pouring out my thoughts visually. Started experimenting, started failing, learning on it, and believing in that path that I've chosen to toe. Do you understand? So again, there has to be that persistence. Yes. You have to stand for something. You have to dive in, stand for something, put in time, put in time, work it out. So as at this point, I didn't have accommodation. I didn't have the money to buy your oil tubes, to have your. But then I was hungry to create. So I would go to work they say it's 9 to 5, but it's beyond 9 to 5. I'll go to work early in the morning, come back late at night. People will be sleeping. While in office, I am processing the next thing I'm going to put down on my drawing board, So with that, over time, I was creating, I was building. Do you understand? At some point, I built a large body of work. From there, I had a couple of exhibitions, local and international, even solo. You understand? So people shouldn't make any excuse. We understand how hard and how tough things are. How the economy is and all that. But then you shouldn't, as a creative person, as an artist, you shouldn't let that stifle your creativity. You shouldn't make that steal your identity of rob you of that thing in you that you have. So my response to your question would be start somewhere. You're an artist. Pencil doesn't cost much. Paper doesn't cost much. Create something. It's about the experience that you create. It's about the story that you tell. It's about the stories that you tell. The world is not people that move the world. It's ideas. What idea do you have? Having ideas doesn't have to.
Wow.
Having ideas doesn't have to do with economy. What ideas do you? Perhaps your idea will help the economy even better as an artist.
Wow.
Do you understand? So there has to be something something in you that you have.
Pencil is not expensive.
Yeah, exactly. So I was hitting at the power of an idea. I was hitting at the power of an idea. It all boils down to what idea do you have, and what story are you ready to tell the world? To tell the world. The world is your audience. Idea is your currency. Put it out there.
Wow.
Start from your immediate circle.
Wow.
Start from your immediate circle.
Okay.
You don't need to necessarily go an empty art world for you to be able to work.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Do you understand?
Okay.
Like
Yes.
For me,
we are listening.
It was pen and paper. So that excuse of, okay, I don't have money for this. Till date, me too, I still face it. And I know other established artists, they still face the same challenge, but it won't stop us from creating. Yeah.
True. Well, like, I'm taking a lot of notes. You've told us really deep things. I can see some other people's questions coming in. Okay, someone is asking that, what if you're not ready? How do I get ready for creating?
Okay.
To create? The person asked the question based on what some of the things you just said about the world is your audience, your idea is your currency. Like, you just have to create. You can buy pencil and paper no business. So the person is asking, what if I am not ready to create? How do I get ready to create?
Then perhaps that idea is not strong enough, because again, back to power of an idea. If an idea is very strong, strong, no holds barred, you will jump into it and you want to, because it's the strength of the idea that keeps pushing you.
True.
So for me, what if you're not ready? That means that idea hasn't been fully formed, or the person just decides to lazy about. The moment an idea hits you, how did Bob Marley say it again? One good thing about music, when it hits you, you feel it. So an idea, a powerful idea can hit you and you don't feel it and you don't move. Do you understand? A big idea, a great idea, with an idea with a great potential can hit you and you just sit and relax and you are just there like a couch potato. No. If it hits you, it pushes you to go bet it out.
Further questions from the audience, people who are watching, before I continue with my own questions. Someone is saying that you should tell us about your mentors. Who are your mentors?
My mentors? Long list.
That was what
my mentors, long list. Okay.
Okay.
Let me start from when I remember. The first mentor I had, was still my elder brother, Ananaba. When I was 3, when I was, as far back as when I was 3, he was, like I said, he was the first artist I knew. Mentors. Childhood, okay. There are some names, like growing up, Okechukwu Iwundu. He's in the US now. Left school then to join the US Army and all, Chamberlain Ukenedo. Chemaitu. There are many.
Okay.
There are many.
Okay. Someone is asking how they impacted your life.
Okay, in many ways. Some of them are
your life and practice.
Yeah, some of them are let me mention Chamberlain Ukenedo. So when I gained admission into school, Chamberlain was just this. I just noticed this restless guy, very restless, was everywhere, sketching his heart out. Chamber was, before social media, the principles of, followership and all those things, principle of tweet and everything. Chamber was carrying all those out. Chamber was the type that would meet you and he will sketch someone in this form, maybe sketch a footballer. Okay, so
yes.
I mentioned some, and you asked them how, in what way did they mentor me? Did they affect? So like I was saying,
your life and
I
your
started
practice.
with Chamberlain in school, way back in school, when I gained that admission into IMT.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Chamber was one of the guys that opened my eyes to interactivity of how art can actually be interactive.
Okay, sir. Sir, I think he's online.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Someone is saying Chamberlain in the house.
I think it's Chamberlain. Anyway, like I said.
I can hear you.
yeah,
sir.
like I said, when I gained admission, I met this restless guy called Chamberlain Kennedy, who actually opened my eyes to how art can become very interactive. So we usually had interactions, not verbal, but visual interactions. So Chamber would get his sketch pad. He would sketch a footballer. He will come to you. He will come to you and say, okay, sir, attack this guy I've sketched. Then you sketch yours. Do you understand? So imagine he first of all draws the ball, draws someone heading it, then you draw your own, attacking the guy. Then he draws another one. Then so you will be building up sketches like that to see how, we're just having fun with that in school. Yeah, that's Chamber.
Okay, sir.
The likes of Chimetu, Okechukwu Iwundu, we call him Osama then, my elder brother, like I mentioned, everybody was in the same department, one way or the other. They opened my eyes to different things, to getting to understand material and a variety of materials and how you can bend the wool and experiment and all that. A friend of mine as well, Aina is a born artist, but a trained architect, and who does also catering. He's the one that challenged me to scale up my ballpoint pen drawings. Like I said, I grew up watching my brother draw. And then our drawings used to be limited to your school exercise book. Not until I went to Aina's house and I saw a full cardboard sheet, like a 30 by 22 inches cardboard sheet, ballpoint pen drawings that he made, and I lost my cool. I'm like, wow, so it's possible to scale this thing up. Do you understand? So, yeah. Then yes, I think the height of it would be when I did my IT at Dolphin Studios in 1997. So at Dolphin Studios, Itire Road, Surulere. Dolphin Studios was a one-stop shop for everything creative. So I was in the graphics department. We had the likes of Uche Iroha, who was in the photography department. My brother was in video department, and on the last floor we had sound studios. So from video to graphics, illustration, everything was happening in there. That was where I got to know the likes of Kelechi Amadiobi and the group. Aside work, we would unite, we would brainstorm. This is off brief or off business. We just come, sharpening our ideas. Chamberlain wasn't working there, but he was always there. Okay. Everybody would unite. We will talk about works, talk about what's happening, how do we affect what we are living, how do we affect our immediate environment with what we are creating, with design, with sound, with photography, with illustration. We'll go to exhibitions in group, and we would appraise, we'll critique works, and we'll do studio visits, and all that. So then the list of mentors, they plenty. I haven't mentioned the Dosa of Hugo, I haven't mentioned the likes of Duke, I haven't mentioned Shegu Adede.
Wow.
I haven't mentioned Pale. Wow. I haven't mentioned Pale.
Sir, okay, I remember that this is one of the questions, is one of my questions actually. Because in my own generation, a lot of my contemporaries see manipulation, they see mentorship as a means of manipulation. So most young people do not believe in mentorship. I am a strong believer in mentorship because I can say that most of the things I do now, I'm able to do them by reason of mentorship. There have been times when I have painted and I've sent the pictures to Mr. Edosa to help me appraise, to help me know, okay, what should I, he's my own mentor, to help me. And I have other mentors at Universal Studios, when I was there as an intern, Mr. Olaku used to correct my works and tell me this is what you should do, this is what you should do. So I know the importance. But what would you say to young artists like me, creatives who don't believe in mentorship? It's a question I wanted to ask you. What your take would be to younger artists about mentorship?
Okay, mentorship, first of all, is to my understanding, is guidance. Just somebody there to help guide you in your direction. I think it's very vital, regardless of the fact that some of us creative people, feel like I want to do it by myself and all that. It's very vital, one way or the other, whether voluntarily or involuntarily. The role of mentorship has to come voluntarily or involuntarily. The role of mentorship has to come to play because one needs direction. Again, as a creative person, there are so many. The mind is always at work. You're always there. I mean, for the true creative, because the mind is always there. Probing things.
Walking.
Yeah, like Yane said here, like no man is an island. You need the next person to communicate to. Do you understand? Iron sharpened iron. You need the next person to relate to air your views, to say, okay, how is this happening? The person can say, based on my experience in this direction, I think this should be the way to go. However, it doesn't mean that that is the only way, but it just helps to open your mind, open your views, open your perspectives. So if mentorship is not necessary, then why did we go to school? Why If mentorship is not necessary, then there's no need for education now. That's how I see it.
Wow.
So it's very important.
Wow.
But the thing there is, again, I keep hammering on the issue of humility. Do you understand? I keep hammering on the issue of humility. A couple of young folks are not that humble. Again, they don't have that patience. Do you understand? Let me reference the typical Igbo business trading mode, whereby the Oga hires some mentees, boys that will learn the trade under him for a good number of years. They learn the in and out of the trade, and at some point they are freed. Yes. They receive blessing and they go.
Yes, sir.
Again, it doesn't mean whatever thing they learn is the only way. No, it's just to help guide you to the right path.
Direct.
But again, what I see is these days, one guy comes and 2 weeks peace. Or because he knows from the back, he knows who can buy this, or and he snitches, and that's it. And we throw everything away and move on.
Okay.
So is mentorship very vital, very, very, very necessary till tomorrow?
Okay, sir. Someone just asked that how is the connection between generations? I mean, she's trying to say the connection, he or she, I don't know, is trying to say what the connection is between the older generation and the younger generation. The connection between the older generation and the younger generation. So how is the connection? That's the person's question here. I hope... I can't really understand the question.
So you are breaking up. I heard older generation and younger generation. What did you say before that?
Okay, yes, the person is asking how is the connection between the older generation, the generation, between generation. But I'm trying to think that, I'm trying to decipher. I think person is trying to ask what the connection is between the older generation and the younger generation.
What's the connection between older generation and the new generation in relation to
younger? Yes, sir.
As relates to our society here?
To what you just said, to mentor. I think yes, our society, and I think about mentorship. Yes. I think the person is still talking about the mentorship, what the relationship is.
I think the thing for me.
Okay, persons in the art world.
What do you say?
I said the person just completed the question. He said the person is saying in the art world what the relationship is, the connection in the art world between the older generation and the younger generation.
What's the connection between them?
Yes.
First of all, is for us to know that, look, first of all, we are artists, and we have to constantly keep the narrative of creativity, of whatever story we are telling, going. Do you understand? So, yeah.
Yes, sir.
One artist cannot tell it all, which is the reason we go out there, we get inspired. I mean, from this conversation, perhaps a question you ask can spark up a train of thought that new direction of works or new series. Do you understand? So the connection, I think, is still there, and needs to be supported by constant conversations, by different means, bridging that gap, so that the young artists don't feel these guys up there, they don't have anything, they don't regard us, they don't want to hear us out, they don't want to let us learn, what they know, and vice versa. Do you understand? It's for everybody to come together to say, look,
yes,
we have to keep this engine running. We have to keep this, because that's how you document history now. That's how you create culture. If that didn't happen, history wouldn't be there. So that's connection has to be supported. There has to be wider avenues through which to support the connection. Through things like this, through talks like this, through seminars and different channels. Did I answer that right?
Yes, sir, you did.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, thank you, sir. Now, my own questions. Okay. I said, what
shoot another one before
what propelled your brand forward?
What's it?
In fact, I want to tell everybody now. Once the 1 hour is up, I'm going to disconnect and I'm going to reconnect. So please, guys, stay with us. We are not done with this session yet. So once the 1 hour is up, when it's 2 minutes, 3 or 5 minutes, I would let us know so that I'll disconnect and I'll reconnect so that we can continue and Mr. Ibe can answer all our questions. All right, sir. So I asked that, what propelled your brand forward and gave your works appreciation over these years? What is it? What can you say propelled the brand forward and allowed your work gain appreciation?
Number one, my love for humanity. My hunger to understand my audience and warm the heart of my audience through what I create. That in turn results to relevance, because for me it's a calling. I constantly have to engage myself in these practices to asking questions with what I do, putting this line here, dropping this paint here to see what results, relating it to some experience of which the viewer would see it, and luckily, it warms the person's heart, or it touches some experience, some old experience. So For me, yeah, love for humanity and my hunger to warm up the heart of my audience has always been my push. That's
Okay. So.
that results to that usually results to the money that we are seeking for. Yes, now. Yes, I said this because I believe it's very necessary to hit the mind emotionally than targeting the pocket with what you create. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Yes. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
For me,
yes.
For me, success is when I create that stuff and it resonates, and I see that sincere response from you and the next person. Do you understand? So for me, it means it is sparking thoughts in the person's mind. That thought that is sparking is what will push the person now to deep hand inside his or her pocket to say, okay, I would like to have this. And then we start talking business. But the first thing is to recognize the fact that this gift that you have or that I have is for me to use it to push humanity forward.
Okay. Talking about humanity, sir. I remember that you, in your bio, there's a foundation, a girl foundation you're a part of. Can you tell us a little about it?
Okay, so Girl Child Art Foundation is an NGO founded by my lovely wife, the woman that was the only woman that is able to understand and tolerate me as husband. So basically is a foundation set up to empower the underserved girl child through arts, activities. So I function as their arts coordinator. Yeah, so I help design art programs and guide them through art events.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great work. I'm sorry, sir. I'm trying to write down these questions so we don't lose them when we disconnect and come back. Okay, yes. So one question I also want to ask is, in creating your works, so what are because I remember that was the topic I put for this discussion, the thought process and the creative process of an artist. So when you want to create a work, what are the thought processes and the creative processes that you go through that make the work become a masterpiece? The thoughts and the creative processes.
What are my thoughts and creative processes?
Yes, in creating a work, what are the okay, let me maybe I should personalize it. What is supposed to be my thought process and my creative process when I create a piece that would make it a masterpiece or make it a good work, a great work of art?
Okay. Again, I will speak for self. First of all, I try to be open-minded. I start from being open-minded, first of all.
Okay.
Because I believe a creative mind is a fertile ground. So I keep it open for ideas to drop in. How does this idea drop in? Being a human being, you have experiences now, past, present, and
Yes, sir.
So I look a lot. I try to observe. I try to feel the pulse of my environment to see what I can pick out. Do you understand? I soak in all.
Yeah.
I soak, as in anywhere I am, I soak in the good, the bad, and the ugly. I soak in everything.
Okay.
You know the way you do something and you save it in one file, one folder, and you create a folder, and so I have all those here. You understand? So based on the current times, I try to dip into my bank to see what I can relate to what the current situation to see what can obtain. Then whatever idea I come up with, whatever idea that comes, I like to take a 360 look at the idea. Sometimes I leave it to see, what, sometimes I leave it to see, how will this hit me back? Do you understand? Again,
all right.
I think I'll have to say this. It's very good to look inwards and listen to your inner self as a creative person. A couple of times, so many people, based on hype, this idea of this question of validation comes up all the time. You understand? When you haven't even done the work. Do you understand? The thing is, you have to look inwards to see that, because you have feelings now. Whatever story, whatever thing you are creating is born out of your experience, out of how you feel. There's some level of, it's born out of your emotions. Understand? Because each piece is a reflection of your mind state. If the piece is sincere, let me hit at that sincerity point again. Do you understand? So look inwards at your inner self. Then then you have to activate my adventurous sides, to say, let me jump in. That's when I assemble my materials or whatever material I find and say, let me take that first step and see what results I will achieve. But then in doing that, there has to be some level of confidence. Do you understand? This thing is here.
Yes.
Creation is just like, it's just like asking questions use your material to ask questions to discover things. Do you understand? Again, I don't know if it's because of economy. People want to just put the mark and it's the final mark and it's a masterpiece. For me, it does not work like that.
Masterpiece.
It does not work like that. You have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to learn from the failure. Even you have to come to terms with failure, because even inside the failure, there are hidden gems. You understand, that could lead you to new directions that would ultimately lead you to that thing that you are looking for. Do you understand? You have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to get up, continue running. So I get my materials, try the first stroke with bold step and see where it leads me. But adventure mistake happens. I embrace it, and if again, there has to be this where constant practice comes. The issue of constant practice comes up now, because if you do something over time, you should be able to master how to navigate your path. Do you understand me? So
yes, sir.
It's just something. It's not a one-off. For you to be an artist, you have already decided that, look, this is your calling, this is your life. Do you understand? Even if you're not physically working, mentally, like me, even if I'm not physically working, mentally I'm working. I've been looking at your facial structure. Yes, I'm not gonna lie you. I've been looking at your facial structure. I'm like, okay, ideally, human beings, 2 eyes, nose, mouth, but look at how the light is falling on Tolu's forehead. What if I try it this way? What if I always asks these questions? Do you understand? So you have to dive in with open-mindedness. Ask questions with your materials. Do you understand? Try out things.
Okay. Yes.
Try out things. When you feel you are tired, you have the right to stop. Don't force it. If it doesn't come, it doesn't come. That's when work is sincere. When it hits you. Do you understand? When it hits you, go there, try it out. If it doesn't come, if it doesn't, if what you're seeing is not what you initially thought you would get, maybe you can leave it. Walk around, look at nature, look at the sky, appreciate the space. New idea can drop in. Do you understand? So, sometimes people give this illusion like, the artist is some sort of magician that comes and just bam, and masterpiece appears. There's a process to it. Do you understand? There's a process. There's a process to it.
Yes, sir.
A couple of, let me say, a couple of, if not 99.9% of whatever I post, they are born out of mistakes. They are born out of frustrations.
Wow.
Very few times I drop 1 or 2 strokes. Then sometimes again, so sometimes you actually do something, it appears very nice, and you say, okay, let me continue. The extra stroke you put, you've spoiled it. It happens to me severally. Do you understand? It happens. So
yes,
again, knowing when to stop is another. Knowing when it hits you to say, look, let me leave this here, because creativity is constant. Your last work is not going to be the only. It has to be an creativity for me is ongoing conversation. Do you understand? That's why I usually like to work in series.
Yes, sir.
I get an idea, I do one, I stretch it. I'm like, okay, how will this work here? Sometimes I leave it. Other times it might take a year or 2. Then I continue the series again, just to have fun and to see what I create. So for me, it's about the experience you create and how you push the narrative. And first of all, the experience you create, the story you are telling, and how you're able to push it to the audience.
Wow. Like, sir, you have just, like, I'm sure everybody who is listening has learnt a whole lot from what you just told us. Like, I learnt a lot. I was just jotting, and there are lots of questions already. I'm sure we are still coming back. Once this 1 hour is off,
somebody says, how can I overcome creative block?
Overcome creative block. Abisola,
okay,
yes.
How to overcome creative block? You have to be willing. First of all, know who you are. Respect your feelings. You cannot force an idea. If it doesn't come, it doesn't come. I have mine. I have forced mine. I know how many. I can't count how many works I've destroyed where I'm trying to force it out. Based on this creative block thing. If there's a creative block, leave it. Go take some fresh air. Listen to music. This is my formula. Crack some. Go walk around. Meet loved ones. Crack some jokes. Listen to music. Appreciate nature. Look at. Have you taken a close look at butterfly? Just butterfly before. Have you ever appreciated how ants move in? Have you wondered how? Have you looked at ants? They laugh. That brings me back to what I said before: open-mindedness. You have to just leave your mind open.
Yes.
Let things just come in. Let things just come in. Let things I live in Lagos. Me and you know how Lagos is. Lagos is like an outdoor theater. Do you understand? You're on your way to go buy fuel, and just by the corner, some conductor and one guy they are fighting, or one other thing. If it's not happening here, it's happening here, it's happening here. There are so many things calling for your attention. Do you understand? In those many things, there are uncountable ideas. Do you understand? Uncountable pointers that can lead to great ideas. That if you create those works from those ideas, they would ultimately relate to issues around your environment or humanity at large. So, creative block, when it comes, just leave it. It's normal. We are humans now. We are humans. It's part of life.
Yes. Someone has asked this question. Like, he has posted it 4 times. I wrote it down, but I see that he has asked again.
Who is the person?
The guy says, as an artist, let me check his name. I can't pronounce the Ochifixo.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yes. Okay, he says, as an artist, I love the smell of oils and linseed and the feel of texture on my canvas. How do I fit into an ever-changing world where digital art is taking a center stage?
My brother, yes.
Very valid
How do
question.
I fit in? into an ever-changing world where digital is good to move on with the times. 1, 2 is there's space for the sky is very large. The fact that digital stage might be taking center stage, digital art might be taking stage doesn't mean that your traditional art is fading out. What if you ask the question of how do you find a way to merge both experiences? Do you understand? My take is still hold forth to what you're doing. Open your mind to know how the digital art thing works. Like me, I'm more of a traditional traditional artist now. I mean, as in my method of creation is through the traditional, your conventional means.
Yes, classic.
Yes, not that classic. I don't embrace the digital thing or I don't even practice it. Of course, I still do some digital thing, but I feel like him as well. I like the texture. I like the smell. For me, it engages all my senses. Do you understand? But then, just know that there is room for everything. Do you understand? Till tomorrow, there are some people still their area of specialization is still life. Do you understand? And they have their market, and they are doing their shows, and they are happy, and they are touring around. There are some people is figurative works. There are some people is abstract. The fact that digital art, is taking center stage, that the way he's put it, it's a welcome development because it comes with its own experience. Yes, it comes with its own experiences that it offers. So one should be able to embrace it and see, okay, how can this help me? What can I take from this to plug into what I do to see the hybrid I can create? But to fix, I don't know if I'm able to drop in some.
Okay, so I'm trying to check the time. But sir, before there's a question here. But before I ask this question, I want to ask my own personal question that would lead to me asking this question. I remember asking this question the last time about the stakeholders in the art industry. Is a question I would like for you to answer for us. I have two very important questions that are important for this conversation, and I must not miss it. So the first is about the stakeholders. So the stakeholders, who are the stakeholders in our industry, and how do they cater for the welfare of the artists?
Who are the stakeholders?
Like we know we have the galleries.
The stakeholders in the art industry. First of all is
collectors.
It starts from the artist now, who creates, who bets, who ideates and creates the work. Because without if the Gary seller doesn't bring Gary to the market, if the Gary producer doesn't produce more Gary, you won't see Gary in the market to buy now. So the stakeholders is through the chain, from the artist who produces the work to the several channels like the galleries, the curators, the art writers, down to even the publicists, down to the collector and institutions. I think they are the stakeholders. What was the second part of the question?
Like, so how do they take care of the welfare?
How do they take care?
Like what's their impact on the artist's welfare?
I'm trying to understand this. Can you restructure this question?
Okay, we know that. Okay, maybe this question would assist me. Bolaji Akingbogbo is asking, what advice do you have for artists who have multiple work piled up and not enough collector.
Okay.
An artist who have multiple works piled up but not enough collector. Maybe this artist does not even have any collector collecting. So how does the artist fix this?
Okay. You have multiple works and no collectors, Abi. I think it's time. I think the person should again look inwards to understanding who he or she is first and why. Then again, no man is an island. You have people around you.
Okay. Mr. Olaku just asked a question, but you were talking about activism in art and your practice. Mr. Olaku says there is a copyright law in Nigeria. Can we test some of these cases in court?
I actually support. I support that too, honestly.
Okay.
Because because once you get to court, then everybody will sit up.
Okay.
So what I see is I think not many people are aware of this, and so they tend to just let it go somehow. But then the more you let it go, the more it worsens.
Okay.
Until there's a case out there and people actually see what what results of the case.
Okay.
Taken serious.
Okay, so but there are going to be lawyers who would be ready to I don't want to use the word assist, who will be ready to defend the artist's case over this matter.
Of course.
Okay.
There'll be lawyer on both ends now.
Okay, sir. All right, that's great. Okay, sir. So you were talking about can you talk about activism in art and your practice?
Activism in art.
Yes, sir.
Activism in art as relates to my practice.
The person just asked that question. Can you talk about activism in art and your practice? So maybe we should talk about your practice, because I do not fully. Maybe the person should explain this question better. Maybe we would understand it then.
Let me just respond to it. Activism in art, like I said, as an artist, your art is your voice, your art is your tool, your art is your weapon. Do you understand? And you exist within an environment. So social activism with regards to art is based on, what your art stands for. Do you understand? So for an artist that like to create some socially relevant, social conscious pieces, his art now is the tool to voice out, ideas. To voice out ideas, to reshape minds, to challenge thoughts.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, to voice out ideas, to challenge thoughts, because Tolu, you as an artist, you might not be able to walk into government house freely to tender your case or address, one concern and all that. But through your art, you can be through your art, through a piece, you can spark up a movement through your piece. Your art can give people hope. Your art can make people rethink why we don't. Okay, your art can start up a conversation as that address the questions why we don't have constant power supply.
Okay.
Or why we have bad roads, or why this, or why that. So, social art activism is. It's a good one. Okay. It's very strong. Yeah. Okay. In the course of my art practice, somehow, as with time, I see my art entering that space. Because I remember my last solo exhibition at 21. I remember having a series of work that, touches stuff like that.
Okay, sir.
Because I created a series with the idea I titled "Give us this fuel, give us this day our daily fuel." Then the likes of First Crown, we're supposed to be kings and queens in a nation that boasts of being an oil-rich nation. Yet, every household is forced to have this funnel as a vital accessory. What would we use it for? To fuel our generators. Why do we fuel our generators? Because we don't have constant power supply. Why don't we have constant power supply? To date, no question. So yeah, social activism is very vital. It helps to address real issues, real societal issues, to create for social change.
Okay, sir. Okay, then the second part is this person says, Nina Simone says the arts should reflect the times. How are your work reflecting the times?
How is my work reflecting the times?
Yes, your works, yes. How are they reflecting the times?
I think I reflect I reflect today because my work reflects the times because I am inspired by everyday activity. I'm inspired by the contemporary activities that happen around me. So, like the silencer thing I mentioned, as at the time, it was a response to what I was observing as at the time.
Okay,
today, yes, we are in the COVID times. If you look at my what's it called, my Instagram timeline, you will see a couple of my drawings. I've been doing a lot of drawing, daily. As a way to draw strength, as a way to give hope out there. You understand? As a way to keep my sanity, as a way to exercise my wrist as well. So, was that reflecting 8 years ago? No, it's reflecting today.
Yes, sir.
So I draw my energy, I draw my inspiration from things that I see around.
Okay, all right, sir. Okay, so someone asked that, do I have to go to the university to perfect art, or do I just learn from a mentor?
You necessarily don't have to go to a university to perfect your art. However, it's very good that you pass through an institution.
Okay.
And it is good to pass through a mentor. The thing, first of all, is, do you have it in you? You can go both ways. You can even combine. The thing is, do you have it in you? Do you, when you go to sleep at night, before you close your eyes, if you look at the ceiling, do you sincerely tell yourself, do you come to terms that you're an artist, or you are just trying to form that you are? It's a question the person will have to answer, for him or herself. But is it good to? Yeah, it's good to get, because passing through institution, you learn a whole lot from the professors, from fellow artists, from students, even from other people that are not artists. That whatever you learn from them, will help what you are there to do and profession. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I have about 2 or 3 more questions.
Like for me, again, let me reference.
Yes, sir.
Let me reference what I. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm listening. When you're done, sir, I would ask the question when you're done.
Okay, yeah, like I was saying, like for me, I will hit back to what I said before about open-mindedness. The fact that you're an artist or a student artist in school doesn't mean you should just limit your mind to just limiting yourself to within the art circle. No, go out there and see what is happening. The next idea might come from engineering block or from humanities or from elsewhere. Do you understand?
Yes.
I believe in hybrid. I believe in creating experiences. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I believe in collaboration. Do you understand?
Yes.
And it can't happen without your mind being open. Do you understand?
Yes.
Before, cell phone used to be just make call and receive call and send text. Some other person thought, okay, what if? You have to always ask, what if? Some other person said, okay, what if we put time? So you have phone and time. Some other person plugged in camera. Some other person did this. Some other person. Now today, phone is like your office. Do you understand? Sure. Sony and Ericsson came together and they batted Sony Ericsson. Do you understand? An artist and some other guy in business department can bet out something. Do you get?
Yes, sir.
So you have to be willing to cooperate and, talking about cooperation, that's another topic you can't exhaust. Any other question?
Yes, sir.
I see Jane has a couple of questions.
No, this person has asked a lot of questions.
What did you say?
I said, I don't know if the person is a lady or a man. I said he or she has asked a lot of questions. Okay,
let's respond to them. Throw them up.
You have. Like I'm saying, I think saying what next for you two after today? Studio visit in the making. This is not. Well, Sir, did you hear that?
I heard studio visit. Well, I didn't hear the.
No, the person said, "What next after this? For you two after today? A studio visit in the making."
Well,
okay.
If Corona, I haven't been to my studio since this whole. I haven't worked in the studio since this whole thing started.
Wow, a lot of artists have been working from home also.
Yeah, I'm working from home.
Especially for those, except for those who have their studios at home. Okay, so someone also. Okay, a question that I think I've lost is about pricing. The person was asking how to price your work as an artist, that he has a problem with pricing his works. That how does he deal with that?
Okay.
Pricing your works.
Okay. Back to sincerity and humility again. Assess yourself. Look at your contemporaries. Go out and see what the value. What kind of figures are they commanding out there? Okay. Know how to. It's a trial and error thing. Know how to place yourself. Again, learn how to market what you have. Okay. Yes, we know that there's an area of specialization. You being an artist, that your work is just to create. But in these times, I think you have to go beyond that and learn a bit of marketing skills. Because it's not all the times that the marketer or the go-between guy would be there. Sometimes they will DM you direct to say, look, I like this. What's up? Is this up for sale? You have to be able to know how to hold a healthy conversation, even if it is not available. You have to be able to control the conversation so that the person will be either be patient or buy some other thing that you have. Okay. Because for the person to come to you means the person values what you do. Okay. So with regards to pricing, just go out there and feel the pulse of the market and know where you place yourself.
Okay. All right. So finally, I think. I have two more questions. Okay, no. Finally, the person, someone is asking, how do you find references for your paintings? Do you find references for your paintings? Okay. Then
do you find references?
Yes, we younger artists talk about references. Like, send me reference for something now to paint. So how do you find these references? Then do you photograph those references yourself?
Okay, thanks to smartphone, camera phone. References. I have a camera phone which I'm using to talk to you. I use that a lot to take some shots. I look a lot. I observe a lot. So sometimes if I don't have phone to snap, I look so I go cram within I dey see.
Okay.
Sometimes I try to retain the memory of what I've seen just to stretch my imagination. Then I go back to sketch part.
Okay.
A couple other times, there's this how do I put it now? We steal. I don't know if stealing is the right word. You know, you have to smartly make reference to something and know how to tweak one or two things so that it's not direct copy of that you are seeing. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Times I do that, but not on someone's work, because my what's it called? My conscience will flog me.
Okay.
Yeah. I just use stealing for lack of a better word.
Okay, sir.
Do you understand? So
yes.
Yeah, photograph. Then look at times I look at magazines. You know, I look at poses. At times I reach out to say, guy, I like this shot. Can I use this as reference?
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
At times, if it's going too much direct, once I put it out there, I will give the person credit to say, look, this is better out of this. This took off from this thought. Okay, do you understand? Sir. So
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Olaku says, is it appropriation? That maybe the word you're looking for is appropriation, Mr. Olaku. Then
yeah, maybe.
Okay. Then he asked a question. No, he asked a question. Mr. Olaku says, please, can you share your Canadian experience with us? We remember you went for an exhibition in Canada. So can you share your experience, your Canadian experience with us? How was your art received in Canada?
Tolu, you have come again with your network. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Yes, I think it's the way I usually turn. I think it's the way I turn this stuff. Okay, it says, please, can you share your Canadian experience with us? How was your art received?
Can I share what?
Your Canadian experience with us. Your experience in Canada when you traveled to Canada for the exhibition, and how was your art received?
Oh, okay. Okay, the genesis. I got a DM from a friend, a designer friend, Mr. Shegolude, about the opening, and I filled the form, threw in my proposal, and it was okay. It was accepted, and applied and was issued a visa, and found myself there in the midst of other great artists from all over the world. My art was well received because perhaps it was the story. I think it was received on two fronts. The story, as in the content, and the technical execution. You know, based on my application, based on the body of works I applied with, they singled me out for a contest, for Art Masters contest. So Art Masters is basically where they select about 8 artists, put you guys on a stage, they give you guys a theme, and you do a live painting, before the audience. So this was made, I think, the only African guy there on the stage with some, I think they tried selecting from different continents.
Okay.
So the topic was unifying nations through art. Okay. And, live stage performance. At first I was just there blank and didn't know what to do. And my mind went to the theme. Like, this is about unifying nations through art. Again, I started adding ideas, connecting dots from old ideas to older ideas to new ideas to this and that to this, and I created a painting of just a lineup of people, which was a continuation of my fashion series.
Okay.
So what I did was I tapped into the pulse of the energy there. Do you understand?
Yes.
I asked myself, what was the theme? Unifying nations. So, meaning many elements coming together. Then I looked around. I felt the vibrancy. I wasn't from there. It was in Vancouver,
Okay.
British Columbia. If you're looking out from the convention center, you just see bright blue sky, clean water, people, happy people from all around. I'm like, how do I reflect this here? So, connecting those elements together, the canvas. And me, I'm a sucker for human elements. I love figures a lot. Because I went back to I activated my figurative adventurous moments, figurative drawing adventurous moments. So everything luckily came to play, and we had a good result. And I was baffled when they mentioned my name as the winner, and the gap. I think the gap I gave the second person was in hundreds.
Wow.
Me myself, I couldn't believe it. And the thing is, the thing is, we all have, as an artist, we all have our experiences. From that experiences, we are to craft out a story. Do you understand? From that from those experiences lie the authenticity of whatever story we create.
Wow.
So what they must have felt was some authentic story coming out from Africa that they never expected, that they never expected. A couple of them were doing this. I saw some people doing this waterfall thing, and some other beautiful thing, beautiful stuff. But I think my approach was what just, they couldn't. Maybe my approach was what, got their interest, that they couldn't just take their minds off it. Let me see if I can see the image here just to share so that people see what's.
Okay.
Just 1 minute. Yeah. So that's it. I can't find. Anyway, what's the next question?
Okay, sir. All right, sir. Mr. Oliver Enwo is here too. Thank you, sir, for joining us. He's asking.
Shout out to Oliver. Go ahead.
He says, how useful has your experience in the advertising industry been to your current practice as an artist? How useful has your experience in the advertising industry been to your current practice as an artist, particularly in terms of your style, positioning, and promoting your work?
Hold on.
Okay, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. It says, how useful has your experience in the advertising industry been to your current practice as an artist, particularly in terms of style, positioning, and promoting your work? Style, positioning, and promoting your work.
It's been very, yeah, it's been very useful. You know, I think we had touched on this earlier on.
Yes.
So my experience in advertising opened my mind to better understand my environment and the audience. In advertising, advertising is a profession whereby you work on anything. Today, a brief can come and is a brief from the banking industry. Tomorrow is from pharmaceuticals. I mean, it opens you to life. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, yes. Yeah, okay. So I was saying, yeah, advertising opens you up, opens you up to life generally. Like I was saying, today you work on pharmaceuticals, tomorrow you work on automobile, next day is FMCG and all that. So it helps you understand how the human mind works. It's like psychology. Okay. Do you understand? So yes, that has helped me in idea formation, in conception, how to brainstorm, the creative process. They're basically the same thing. How to see and believe in an idea. Do you understand? So yes. With regards to style, it has helped me a lot because while in advertising in the concept units, I was a my work included me doing visualizing ideas, doing illustration. So in that, I was experimenting with different styles. Do you understand? Today, a brief can come and I would say, okay, rather than photography, let's go the route of using hand illustrated images. Okay. Do you understand? Yes. It could be ballpoint pen, it could be pencil, it could be this. At some point, we're even doing things like fusion. Like if you go to my Instagram feed, I think it was a post I did, something I posted two days ago or yesterday, that I made a drawing, and that was a drawing of, like, it was a side view of a lady. A lady, that I was putting different things as the earrings. So those form of experiments, just to create different experiences. Understand? So in terms of style, it had me doing all sorts, so it has helped me in opening my mind up to try different things, to experiment. Then in terms of positioning and promoting my artwork, that's where learning marketing skills come into play. Okay. Learning learning your audience, knowing how to approach collector A, and knowing how to differentiate, how to approach collector A from collector B. Collector A, you really have to know where he's coming from, what appeals to him or her. Okay. Which also applies to advertising. Like, okay, let's say for instance, this is Tolu. Tolu is fair. Tolu likes, I don't know what favorite color I don't know what Tolu's favorite color is, but if I understand all those, so if a brief comes and say, let's say Tolu likes red, and Tolu likes fashion, Tolu likes red and Tolu likes fashion, and let's say a mobile phone, there's a new brand of mobile phone coming out. By the time I understand that Tolu likes to club, Tolu likes red, Tolu likes fashion, I can create I can come up with an idea that will have some wicked guy, some tall that can with a red phone, posing with some red tops, in some situations that if Tolu sees it, Tolu will like it. Do you understand?
Yes.
Once you connect those dots and align those elements together, they would arrest Tolu's fancy, and Tolu would not know when she would dip hands in her pocket and buy the phone. Even if the real value is 50K, Tolu is ready. By the time Tolu sees how the imagery is being presented, the story first of all, the idea, then how the imagery is being presented to support the story. Tolu is ready to dip hand in her pocket and pay 150K for a 50K phone.
For the phone. Wow.
So all those come into play. So it has advertising has helped my art practice in learning how to put together, align my thoughts, craft a story, craft an idea, sustain the idea by creating series of works vetted from that idea, learning how to put them together, knowing or sourcing who to market them to and how to market them.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Last question of the day. We've taken your old time today.
If I hope that hit the point.
The point.
If it doesn't, let me know. We'll reshoot.
Okay, so the last question is, how does an artist develop a career? The reason I'm asking this question, how does an artist develop a career?
Okay.
The reason I'm asking is, I've had people ask me a lot of times after school, are you looking for a job? People have asked me several times, so are you looking for a job? You should look for a job because this is just a hobby. So how do I tell people that I am not a hobbyist, I'm an artist? And this, I have had to explain to a lot of people that this is my 9 to 5. I wake up in the morning, routine every day. I have a son who is 1 year and 18 months, and it has been routine every day since 6 months, since he clocked 6 months, that I wake up every day, I take my bath, prepare the food and everything, and I go to my studio in my house to work. So how does an artist create a career, build a career? Let people know that art is a career. I tell people it's my 9 to 5. So how do I do that as an artist?
Okay, so I was just about to to start off with what you mentioned. First is to come to terms, that awareness that look, this is a profession and not just a hobby. Yes, it's a hobby, but it's a profession as well. You understand? The earlier the person comes to terms that look, this is just like someone being a doctor or being a banker or doing that, it starts from there. Then being aware of that, then creating a structure, knowing how to understanding the grades. For the person to be an artist or want to be an artist, there must have been 1 or 2 or 3 people the person must have liked what they do or what they are doing. Understanding those people and know, both local and internationally, and know what they are doing right, or know what you think they are doing that's keeping them to the level at which they are. Get those things, structure them the way it applies to what you're doing, because the way it's working for someone in New York might not be the way it will work for you. So understand your environment.
Okay.
You understand? Understand your environment. Create a structure. Create an ecosystem that would support and advocate for what you do. Again, whoever that said start small didn't make a mistake. Start from your immediate environment. Create something. Call your family, friends, and say, look, this is what I've done. Let them critique it and tell you sincerely how they feel. That will help you gauge whether you are on the right direction or not. Do you understand? Of course, the issue of mentorship that we spoke about will come to play. Do you get?
Yes, sir.
By the time Yeah. By the time you itemize this and follow it through, and you can have more than one mentors.
Yes.
And mentorship must not necessarily mean somebody older. Look, I mean, there's technology. Go out there and look at what people are doing. Look at what people are doing. Look at how you can develop yourself, how you can develop your craft. Do you understand?
Yes.
Then you have a voice. You're a living being that has a soul, that has some experiences. Look inwards. What story are you willing to tell the audience? Do you understand?
Yes.
Your ideas, your story is what connects you to the world, with the world. So put out an authentic story out there. Keep it consistent. By the time you keep it consistent, people will be out there that will notice, man, there's some sort of vibe going here. Let's look at what is happening here. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Marketing your what you do must not necessarily be from the gallery. It could be from a curator or an art writer who might say, okay, who might know a couple of promoters, or who might be conversant with lots of opportunities out there that can say, Tolu is doing this thing. I think there's an opening here in China. I think if I plug in Tolu here, it can help her. Do you understand?
Yes.
It must not necessarily be to tidy up a proposal, a portfolio, and go to see one gallery, or some galleries. No, you have to spread your net. You have to spread your nets. Do you understand?
Yes.
So,
wow.
Again, you have to be willing to share your ideas. Don't hoard your ideas. You are just a vessel. As a creative person, you're just a vessel. Create something. Make sure you share your ideas, because you don't know. Thanks to social media now, people are actually out there looking. People are hungry. People want to see the next thing that will come out. Do you understand? That will warm up their hearts. Yours might be that thing. Yours might be that next thing. Yours might be the answer to whatever whatever need state the person is needing is in as at the moment. So just create something and put it out there. Share your ideas. Connect with people that are doing things similar to what you're doing. Be open-minded. Learn from, observe things. Learn from different fields. Do you understand?
Yes.
Fail. People don't like to hear that part. Fail.
Yes.
Get up and learn from the failure. Be open-minded to collaborate with other creative minds and see what you can create. It's about creating experiences. Do you understand?
Yes.
I mean, sometime I was very glad when I saw Osa 7 collaborating with the likes of Hennessy. Do you understand?
Yes.
I mean, by the way, shout out to Osa. I mean, it points to possibilities out there.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand? There was sometime last 2 years, I did a collaboration. I did a collaboration with a professor in California, David Lobenberg. I mean, what an idea that what started off as an exchange of sketches. Like initially, the initiative started like, okay, he said, okay, what if we share images of each other? Like he takes shots of people around him and I take shots of people around me, and we share, we exchange, and we paint. And I said, that's nice, but what if, again, you have to be willing to ask that what if, activate your what ifs. I said, okay, what if we use this opportunity to understudy each other's background by sketching ourselves, trying to understand our cultural backgrounds. Do you understand? So,
yes.
Grew to become a cross-cultural activity, cross-cultural initiative to understand, to help us understand our different cultural backgrounds. Yes, to understand each other. So he would make faces. This is an old man. He would make faces, snap himself selfies and send to me, and I would do mine and send to him. And it was fun. Do you understand? So we have to be willing to be open to see how we can push our narratives as an artist. That way we create stories. That way we document time. We create history and all that for next generation.
Wow, thank you.
Generations that will come.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Like, I've had a insightful.
Were we able to cover?
Yes, we covered everything. Yes,
are you sure?
we did. Yes, I'm very sure. Like, I've been ticking all the questions to see the ones we have answered, and the ones we have answered everything. We have answered about 20 questions today. So we have answered all the questions. You have answered all the questions, sir. Thank you so very much. We are very grateful. I'm speaking on behalf of everybody and myself. We are very grateful for giving us your time, your resources, your intellect. We do not take it for granted. Thank you so much, sir. I have learned a lot from this experience.
I think there's something I missed out to talk about.
All right, sir.
Issue of patience.
Okay.
I see a lot of young artists, they want to hammer overnight. Whilst it's good, whilst it's possible and good, it's I think we just have to pedal and just be a little patient and put in some work. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
A whole lot of young guys, they want to do, what's in there, I can do this. Let them just be a little patient and do the work. Yes. Because in practice, hitting back to the topic, creative process, it opens you up to so many things that you didn't even plan, that you are going to meet. Do you understand? I mean, I can't count how many times I've set out to do this. Then along the line, something happens. Do you understand? Unplanned. Maybe I'm trying to turn and I hit my paint mistakenly and it pours on something. And it now pours on my canvas and creates one effect. You have to be willing to follow it, to see the next thing you will create. Do you understand? You have to be willing to say, you have to be willing to pause and follow the new route direction, because there are so many hidden things in there. Do you understand? So if you have patience enough just to keep asking these questions with our materials, you have to be patient enough to do that, to keep consistent in experimenting, in letting that passion lead us. Because I believe for you to get to that level, you have to be doing it passionately. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I've talked about failure.
Yes.
We have to be willing to fail. We have to be willing to overcome fear.
Okay, sir.
Fear is natural. Fear is very natural. We have to be willing to, embrace it. Do you understand?
Yes.
And find a way to overcome it, to learn from it. We hate to make mistakes. We should make those mistakes. We should fail and learn from learn from those mistakes. Sure. I can't overheat it. Do you understand? But I can't overheat on that. Again, it's to show appreciation. No matter how little. Like we've been talking before, like I hinted earlier on. Those collectors, it's not only when we shouldn't remember them only when we have something to market to them. We should make out time to say hi. Do you understand?
Sure. Yes, sir.
So what's up? How are you doing? I just remembered you. How is your business doing? Invest in the person's business. If it's someone in real estate, if you have some money to invest, why not? Do you understand? Why go elsewhere? That's how to maintain relations. That's part of the ways to maintain relationship. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If it's someone in tailoring business, buy the person's clothes. Hit the person up and say, okay, what if we collaborate to do this? What if? Well, ask those what ifs. Show that you care. You know.
Okay. Yes.
And creative mind doesn't sleep. Let the creative mind keep creating and keep sharing. You know, that's one of the ways to warm up humanity at large. Like in this COVID-19 times, in this lockdown, I can't tell you how I've been lifted citing at a whole lot of people's works. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
People like, I can't even name names because if I start naming names, I can't finish the list. People like Austin Ozo, people like Austin. People like Duke, people like, you know, there are plenty. Who do I mention now and leave out? I guess, you know, just create and share. You know, because what you post out there, you know what? Because what you post out there can be resolving, can be a solution. It can be a solution to some other person's emotional problem elsewhere in Peru, elsewhere in Argentina, you know, just the person citing your post and what you captioned it. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So why not do it when you have the ability to? That's always one question I ask myself. Now that you are able to, why not do it? Why wait? Do you understand?
Yes. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so
I hope
very
it was
much.
It was
really insightful.
Having you drill me.
No, I didn't drill you. These are just questions that need to be asked.
Like, a big shout out to all the viewers.
Yes, thank you so much. Hello. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you.
You're actually reflecting the things, you know, some of the things I said. I like the fact that you hinted on purpose, because for me, that's the big picture. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You asked why art.
Yes.
It's for a purpose. There's a reason we are artists. For me, it's beyond hobby now. For me, I see it as a calling. You understand? Sorry, I'm cutting you short. I see it as a calling, and you know, like I said, to add my bit to warm up, to contribute to warming up humanity. Do you understand? General scale, and with the realization that it's all about ideas, and I mean, it's ideas that rule the world, and knowing that, look, ideas is the currency, you know. So based on that, I began to harness my artistic potential, so to speak, you know, pushing beyond, and drilling myself on how to express my ideas in a multi-dimensional way, which is what led me to advertising. At some point, there was a time I aspired to be a musician. In fact, I see myself as one failed rapper. Growing up those days, you know, during second, like me, I'm a golden era kid, you know, influenced by 1990s hip hop and all that. So I began to search for how to express my ideas, you know, as a visual artist, as you know, in advertising, like, you know, spent 15 years in advertising. Thankfully, with what I did there. Got some local and international awards with trying to push, the arts. Do you understand?
Yes.
I remember some campaigns that we did using art solely, like the campaign that got awards, that got us award, the Pepsi campaign. I don't know how to show. Let me search and see if I can.
Okay,
see
we
that
have
here.
We have 1 minute more.
Okay, no, so time won't permit us. So
Yes.
From that to spreading, like I said, spreading my nets.
Yes.
Thing is just like you said, purpose and looking out for different ways with which to put out what you do for humanity to enjoy.
Yes.
So it was nice having you ask me this, and I thank all the viewers and for asking me their questions as well.
Yes, thank you so much, everybody. So it's time to say goodbye. Thank you, sir. So we'll talk again soon.
All right, cheers.
Bye.